Today it's coffee. That's not a good sound. Oh! There we go. Sorry about that. I didn't mute the mic for that. That was bad of me. I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. So, what we covered last episode was IOStream, standard library cin function, daisy chaining console in, console out commands to create longer things. Ooh. Yeah. Don't know what we're going to be moving on to, so I'm not actually sure I should be making a new project. Let's go back and let's open baby CPP. Hello world CPP. Goodbye CPP. What was it called? Does anyone remember? It was last week, so it's either going to be baby CPP or hello world. I think it's baby CPP. Could not be open. Do you want to remove the references to it from the list? Yeah, okay. Hello world CPP. Yeah, no, this isn't what I wanted. Oh. IOStream? Yeah, IOStream, there we go. Thank you, Visual Studio. Let me just get some of this. Yeah, it's coffee, all right. So, reading an unknown number of inputs. While standard cin value sum plus equals value standard console out sum is. Okay, that's interesting. Good. That's interesting. Good. No comment. So they got I do that. Is that fine? they have omitted the curly braces, as you can for single line executions. However, I will not be doing that today. So we've appended this. So it's going to ask us what number do you want a Fibonacci. It's going to ask us for two numbers. We're going to give it two numbers. It's going to add those two numbers together, and it's going to tell you, no, it's not. It's going to times those two numbers together, and it's going to tell you that the sum of v1 and v2 is the product of v1 and v2. And then it's going to reinitialize the ints. Then we're going to enter a loop, which will ask us for a number of inputs. When you press enter, it should do this. So let's see if that's a Fibonacci. 1 and 2, it's fine. So 1 and 2 is 2, 2, 3, 4, 6, 80. That's weird. Is that right? 95? 2, 3, 5, 9, 15, 95. Yeah, it is. Why did it take so long? Do you just have to wait? $119. So you have to try and that's exactly the code that they've got. One more time. Okay, so you can escape it pretty fast if you put a letter there. But first line main defines two int variables named sum and value, which we initialize to 0. We use value to hold each number as we read it from the input. We read the data inside the condition of the while. Evaluating the while condition executes the expression standard console in value. Expression reads the next number from standard input, stores that number in value. Operator is 1.2, page 8. returns its left operand, which in this case is standard cin. Here we go. When we use an iStream as a condition, the effect is to test the state of the stream. If the stream is valid, that is, if the stream hasn't encountered an error, then the test succeeds and iStream becomes invalid. When we hit end of file or encounter an invalid input, such as reading a value that is not an integer, an iStream that is in an invalid state will cause the condition to yield false. So we didn't manage to get an end of file. We didn't manage to end a file. I can't remember if there was a button to end a file. I think there is, and I've forgotten it. It's like shift. Is it shift O or shift H or something? Control H. Anyway, I can't remember. So we were escaping. We were getting out of this loop here by inputting a char instead of an int. Very good. Here we go. Different operating system use different conventions to allow us to indicate the end of file. Windows systems, we enter an end of file by typing a Control Z. Press the Control and press Z, followed by hitting the Enter or Return key. Unix systems, including Mac OS X, end of file is Control D. Let's try that. Because there you go. Yeah, that was a cool character it just threw in there. Write your own version of a program that prints the sum of a set of integers read from cin. Okay. Like most languages, C++ provides an if statement. Good. Fucking love if statements, me. It's got a bit of code block here, but it seems normal enough. If standard console in current val. While standard cin val, read the remaining numbers. So it's pretty wild how this is dealing with live I/O. Like, I guess it's the same as reading from a file. It's just a file that's in memory rather than a file that's on disk. But a lot of the stuff that we did in C way back when was I should probably mute the desktop audio just in case. Was like you'd have an array of values and you'd scan over that because it was more the kind of thing that you'd do. But you know, it is what it is, and it's pretty cool that you can do this. So you use the console in for your if or your while to create a loop that is substantiated by the fact that you have input, right? Yeah. So as long as your input hasn't incurred an error, you'll be able to access this loop. And when it occurs an error, it will exit the loop. It's cool. So let's actually write this program out. Why? I'm sorry, what? Oh yeah. Does it matter? Whatever. Nope. Valid. This book really likes to put its its curly braces at the end of lines. I hate that. You gotta stop, lad. You gotta stop. Wow. Can I just move my keyboard this way a little bit without fucking everything? Nope. Everything has been destroyed. That'll do. Let me scoop my dude around here. Could have just written it really. Whoa, whoa! You fucking doing. What's wrong? While. Oh, whoops. I'm glad it told me that. That's what it says. Plus plus count, not count plus plus. So okay. Oh, nope. Else I don't have like a. Be really nice actually. I thought again about getting one of those gooseneck phone holders from B&M, but I did not again purchase one because I remember them being flimsy and quite small. The clamp was really small, so. Occurs. So let's see if I get this right. So I think we'll finish writing it out before I try and go through it logically. Remember to print the count for the last value in the file. Ooh. That's what it says. Okay, so int current value equals 0, value equals 0. So we're initializing two placeholder container ints, and then if standard console in current value, we take in from the console input a series of ints. We paste those to current value. So if this fails, no ints were input into the cin. It was escaped early, or the PC crashed, or whatever. But if this is true, we move on to here. int count equals 1. So we've got our counter, we've made it equal 1 because there's definitely one item in our list. While standard cin value, if value is equal to current value, count plus 1. Okay. So this takes in the same piece of information, or this takes in a piece of information from cin. It writes to value. If value is equal to current value plus plus count, else standard cout current value occurs count times standard end line current value. Okay, so this is a little bit confusing for me because there's very inspecific. I mean, in my mind, it's slightly inspecific because when you when in C, in old C, when you want to do a comparison of ints, maybe you have a loop, you have an int main loop, and you'll have your input will be written to an array. Your array will then be duplicated from current value to value. You'll take each value from the array you'll take, and then you'll scan across the array using an iterative kind of method. This does not have like a motion through the values. It just kind of takes the values in as it sees them, I guess, and then just kind of does it. I don't know. It's a bit weird for me. I'm freaking out. But let's just test it. Can you do a 15 at work tomorrow if possible? I will get back to you about that. Well, it works fine. But also probably not, no. See, what have we got? Increment. Cool. Yeah, I'll text Josh. So if plus plus precedes the variable plus plus counter, the value is returned. The value returned is the value of the counter after it has been incremented. Plus plus follows the variable counter plus plus. The value returned is the value of the counter before it has been incremented. Okay. I don't get it. Let's read the book. It's kind of familiar. Starting by defining val and coval. Coval will keep track of which number we are counting. Val will hold each number. So we read it in the input. Yeah, no. The if statements are fine. I don't get the Oh, actually, maybe. If val equals current val, yeah. Add one to count, yeah. Otherwise, print the count for the previous value. Yeah, that's fine, but how does value... So if there's data, write one count. Okay, set count to 1, it's fine. While standard cin goes to value, value is equal to current value, increment the count. Fine, this bit's fine. If the value is equal, if the item that we're looking at is the same as the thing, plus 1 count. I guess this moves from the position we've already read here, current value, it's already indexed to that, so it just moves on 1. I guess we're just going to have to understand it like that anyway. It's kind of ridiculous. Weird. Yes. That's fine. That's fine. It just does it. It's fine. Revise the program you wrote for the exercises in 141. What? Page 13. printed a range of numbers so that handles input in which the first number is smaller than the second. What? Whoa. We wrote a program back on page 13. No, that is not page 13. That is the index. That is the preface. There are no page numbers. Big fantastico. One 1.4.1, here we go. While statement. That is not what we're looking for. Cool. 141, here we go. Write a program that uses while some numbers to 50 to 100. In addition to the plus plus operator that adds 1 to its operand, there is a decrement operator. Write a program that prompts the user for 2 integers. Print each number in the range specified by those 2 integers. Okay. They're fairly simple stuff to do. Okay, the only remaining feature we need to understand before solving our bookstore problem is how to define a data structure to represent our transaction data. In C++, we define our own data structures by defining a class. Class defines a type among with a collection of operations that are related to that type. Class mechanism is one of the most important features in C++. In fact, primary focus of the design of C++ is to make it possible to define class types that behave as naturally as the built-in types. What is a name? Where is it defined? What operations does it support? For our bookstore problem, we'll assume that the class is named sales item and that it is already defined in the header name sales item.h. Okay. After we've seen to use the library facility, we must use the associated header, blah blah blah. Oh, capital H, weirdo. Oh, nope. thank you, but no. Every class defines a type. In addition to be able to define variables as type, we can ISBN. What? Call a function named ISBN to fetch the from a sales item object. Jesus. There we go. Put that down there. And what are we doing? Oh, we're reading about dropping phones. Now we know things about the thing class, we can write programs about them. Whoa! Thank you. That's a sensitive volume button. Wow. To use to type out these transactions as input to the programs you're testing, most operating systems support file redirection, which lets you associate a named file with a standard input, standard output, add items, in file, out file. Assuming $$ is the system prompt, and that addition program has been compiled into an executable file named addItems.exe, or addItems on Unix. Command will read transactions from a file named inFile and write to its output a file named outFile in the current directory. Okay. So it looks like this gentle book friend has some example code that I'm meant to... Really? Oh, thank you. Maybe CPP, book CPP. Thank you. Add new item. Source. Add new class. Sharp pragma once. In fact, you know what? Let's get the H file that they've written. For Christ's sake. Will this phone not stay in one place for 4 seconds? Oh my god, it's gone back. It's gone back. Stay there. Just... It's... Seven, 4, 1, 1, 3. Good job. All right. Download the source files for Microsoft Visual Studio, I guess. My coffee is cold. All the stuff in the pot's not. Oh, hello. This is very interesting stuff for you to see. Some deep file management. Did I just... Okay. I just deleted the folder that I'd made after I'd extracted. Let's see. There we go. Chapter 1. Sales item.h. Open. Open with Notepad. This file defines sales item class using chapter 1. Thank you. It's code used in file explained chapter 7. Classes chapter 14. Overloaded operators. Readers shouldn't try to understand the code in this file unless they have read those chapters. God damn it. Guess. If and def. Okay, that I can grasp. Standard O stream and operator out, standard O stream and out, constant sales item and S. Out s.isbn. So dereferencing the memory address for a specified sales item S, it returns s.isbn, which I'm assuming, open brackets, ISBN will be a function which holds a string of numbers. ISBN's just numbers. I don't really have any books near enough to hand to check. I think they are. Double sales item average, AVG underscore price, const, if units sold, return revenue divided by units sold, else return 0. Okay. Double price in s.book now, s.units underscore sold, price. Check that the input succeeded if in s.revenue equals s.units underscore sold times our price, else this equals sales item, input failed, reset object to default state, return in. Okay. Cool. So I guess the idea of the book is to get you used to working with files that you're given from other people, just to slam them in. So, okay, let's just close that. Yep. Let's just copy the file over. Continue with the example code, I guess. Where the heck am I? G++. CPP, baby CPP, book CPP, book.h, sales item.h. It's not going to be like one of these refresh. Whatever. Copy that file into your working directory. Use it to write a program that reads a set of book sales transactions, writing each transaction to the standard output. Write a program that reads two sales item objects that have the same ISBN and produces their sum. Write a program that reads several transactions for the same ISBN. The sum of all the transactions that were read. Unresolved external symbol underscore main reference in function int cdcl invoke main void. I don't think that makes any difference. No. Yeah, doesn't make any difference. Can't open the source file version test.h. Do. Well, it's right there, so it's just in the version test.h. Add existing. That's right then. So no error list. Unresolved external symbol main referenced in function int. Why the fuck? Nope. Nope. Why would you do that? Bad. Okay. Ah, yes. I see. I see the. I see the problem. So the example text it gives us is so it's an ISBN number. Oh, did I just say that? Christ. I feel like I lost brain cells. So it's an ISBN followed by the number sold, followed by the price per unit. And then it tells you the ISBN, the amount of money for all of them, and the price per unit. Right? So we make the item book. Book is written by what we put into the standard input. And then book is written to the console based on the function which we have in sales item.h, I guess. that a standard console out for a sales item will include the total value of the stock that's been sold. Very nice. I'm only assuming this. Just have a quick scan through the H file again, just to be sure. Like operations says a sales item and operator plus equals constant sales item. Okay, nope. Operations on sales item objects string ISBN const return book number double AVG price const private members as before private standard string book number implicitly initialized to the empty string. Good. Units sold 0 explicitly initialized double revenue. Okay. Unsigned units sold double revenue. Return IHS unit sold equals RHS unit sold. LHS dot revenue equals RHS dot revenue and LHS dot ISBN equals RHS. Okay, what? This is some whack header file. Double price in S book number S dot unit sold price. If in S dot revenue equals S dot unit sold star price. Yeah, there you go. Operator in standard iStream and operator in standard iStream and in sales item and S. Yeah, so that's where it's doing that. Yeah, so here when you write it, it does the calculation, and then it does the out because, right, I see. So when you make the book object with the amount sold, it does the maths when you put it in, and then it writes it out when you want it out, when you write it out. Okay, cool. Okay, so the next step, we've got the initialization of 2 books, and then we put them in, and then we write there some. Try it. So we've got example input. My big question is, okay, so it doesn't check to see if the ISBNs are the same in this operation. It's just gonna add all the transactions up, which isn't great. But program starts by including sales item string headers. Next, we define 2 sales item objects to hold the transactions. Read data into these objects to the standard input. The output expression does the addition and prints the result. So worth noting how similar this program looks to the one on page 6. We had to read 2 inputs, write the sum. Makes a similarity noteworthy. Instead of printing the sum of 2 integers, we're reading and printing the sum of 2 sales item objects. Cool. Moreover, the whole idea of sum is different in this case of ints. We're generating a conventional sum, the result of adding 2 numeric values. In the case of sales item objects, we are using a conceptually new meaning for sum, the result of adding the components of 2 sales item objects. Write a program that reads to... Okay, we've done that one. Write a program that reads several transactions for the same ISBN. Write the sum of all the transactions that were read. It's Okay, that's not right. It's kind of right, but it's also not right. Yes. I think that's right. There we go. So there you go. 7 sold, £214, dollar, whatever, currency, average price, 30.5714. Boom. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And I feel like I'm getting a bit more comfortable about this whole CJAM alarm. First, look at member functions. Program that adds 2 sales items should check whether the objects have the same ISBN. We'll do this as follows. Sales item 1, 2, CM item 1, 2. Item 1.isbn bracket equals item 2.isbn bracket std cout item 1 plus item 2. Else, std c error, data must refer to the same ISBN. Std end line, indicate failure, return -1. Okay. The difference between this program and the previous program is the if and the associated else branch. Even without understanding the if condition, we know that what this program does. If the condition succeeds, then we write the same output as before, return 0 indicating success. The condition fails, we execute the block following else, which prints a message and returns an error indicator. If condition, item 1.isbn equals item 2.isbn, calls a member function named ISBN. The member function is a function that is defined as part of a class. Member functions are sometimes referred to as methods. Okay, cool. We use the dot operator to say that we want the ISBN member of the object named item 1. That's cool. Dot operator applies only to objects of class type. Okay, cool. Left hand operand must be of class type. The right hand operand must name a member of that type. Okay. So you've got your class. So you've got your sales item class, which is defined in sales item.h, and when you instantiate a sales item, you can access the functions within the class definition in the header file. And this one has a drinking coffee. How can I be tired? This one has got a function which allows the passing of string data, the string data specifically of the ISBN, which is typed into when you instantiate the class, which is good. Cool. So we're going to read from a file. We're not going to read from a file. What? I mean, sales. Whoa. Yeah, I want to put that down here. Thank you. You know what? Screw y'all. Oh. So okay, I think this is the last bit in this chapter. So I'm just gonna blast through it real quick. So we initialize the program. Sales item total, if standard cin input total. So if we go to our thing, we type in some ISBNs with some prices and stuff, and then we end a file, and then we smack it in. It'll process all of the stuff that we've got, and it will be sales item transaction while standard console in transaction. So it does the same thing as our previous thing, where it compares the values in total and trans, which are the input values from our sales item standard console input. It looks to see if the total, if the ISBN in total is the same as the ISBN in transaction. If they are, then they get added together. So the ISBNs get combined because it's the same ISBN. The total for all the books gets added together, and the count for all the books sold gets added together. The average price for each book is printed at the end. Otherwise, we see out for that section, and then we move to the next data input and process it again. Somehow, I'm still not HP about that functionality, but that's what it does. It's what it's meant to do. It's what it should do. We'll test it in just a sec. And then when we get to our last entry, it exits. It goes to standard cout total. We write the total. If we don't get any input, we get standard console error. Type some ISBNs yumuk. Standard inline. Return -1, which is an error code. Or it is, well, it ends the program and it returns the number -1, which can be interpreted by a human on the other side, either in a debug file or in the console. If it doesn't close the console in the debug mode, it will not close the console. We'll be able to see it. Return a -1 if we don't put any valid input in, or it will return 0 once it's finished. Once it's finished all that looping. So yeah, let's give it a whirl. First thing we're going to do, we're just going to escape the program, and there you go. Type some ISBNs yumuk. Process 15264 exited with code -1. You can see our error code is working very well there. Say our error code, someone's error code. So I use a lowercase x. Am I allowed to? Didn't we have this problem before with the other thing, where it was outputting too fast or whatever? I guess it's fine. It does all the ones which are the same, and then if you type something which is different, it adds them all together and tallies them up. So I guess it kind of works. Might be some refining needed on the actual process of this. You know, it should be like you should get your inputs and then it should have all your outputs, right? But can it do that without storing things in temporary variables? Like a whole bunch of temporary variables? Or writing things to an array? Who knows? who cares? Anyway, so everything's gone fairly smoothly. We've used a .h file without having to read or understand the .h file, which is probably going to be helpful in the future, given the dizzying number of .h files that the Unreal Engine uses. We've smacked around the C in, C out commands a whole bunch, and we've done some modifications of input and output, additions, totaling, rolling sum, product, all that good stuff. We've got error codes going on, which is always fun. Excellent. And that's where we're at. Next session. Next session. Come on, scroll. That's a lot of stuff. Part 1, the basics. Okay, so I don't know what we've been doing up till now, but it's great. It doesn't give me any information on the page header or footer about, you know, what chapter we're in, what page we're on, which is very annoying, but we'll make do. Next sesh, after scrolling through all those defined things that we've looked at, will be C++ basics, variables, basic types, strings, vectors, arrays, expressions, statements, functions, and classes. So all of the standard meat and potatoes C that you know and love, that I know and love, that I'm familiar and happy to deal with to a certain extent. Don't know why it threw us a curveball with that first chapter, but chapter 2 is primitive built-in types, variables, compound types, constant qualifier, dealing with types, defining our own data structures. Okay. So part 1 is chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So chapter 2, variables and basic types. We're going to be covering primitive built-in types, int, char, double, float, long. Byte, I guess, is a built-in type, but we probably won't be using byte. It's not a type, is it? Is it a type? Who knows? I don't think it is. Byte. I'm gonna say it is a type, and we'll probably cover it. So we'll cover types, variables, compound types, the constant qualifier, dealing with types, and defining our own data structs. Structs as well be very important for working with Unreal Engine, because Unreal Engine deals with structs a heck of a lot. And yeah, looks fun. So thanks for tuning in if you came for the live video. Thanks for... oh. Yeah, you can see that, can't you? Thanks for watching the VOD, if you watch the VOD. And as always, I will see you in the next episode.